All right, welcome back to Microsoft Excel tips and tricks. Today's topic is formatting basics in Excel. So let's go over a couple of things here so we can learn some fast ways to get some things done. So in Excel, just like in Microsoft Word, we have the ability to use all of the ribbon to be able to change the way that fonts look, numbers look, the way that we can organize the cells. And all you have to do to be able to make some changes is simply just select the cell that you're interested in. And in this case, we're in B2 where it says onions. And then I could immediately go up here on the Home tab ribbon in the font group, and I can use these different tools that are here. Bold. Now we can see that it's changed. Remember that whatever changes you make in the spreadsheet itself, in the worksheet, does not affect the lettering that you see up here in the formula bar. Those are just letter values, and those won't change. But as you can see now, I have the bold employed. There's a little box around it. We'll go ahead and just real quickly grab italicize, and for fun, we'll say underline, and we can see the changes are happening down here. These are formatting changes. And we have lots of other ones that we can do as well. If we want to, we can go over here, we can change the font color, and there's many different colors that are here. And here's something that's really powerful in all things Microsoft. We have something called the preview mode. So right now, because cell B2 is selected where it says onions, if I want to know what a certain color looks like, rather than go to it here and then commit to it, I just hover over it. There's that pretty blue color called blue accent 1. How about this one next to it? Now we can see over there in cell B2 that onions looks a little bit different. In fact, we can go down any one of these and just by hovering over them, we are in fact in preview mode, and we can check out any colors we want. That's pretty slick. So very quickly, we can choose whatever color we want to and make whatever changes we want to. That's pretty great. So that's easy. Now, if I want to be able to take that particular formatting right there and apply it over here, like say in peanut butter, for example, I have to then remember what all of the different formattings we use to make it work, all the different features. So for example, I might remember that it was bold and it was italicized and it was underlined and it was red, and that's okay. But what happens when you have something like this, and not only do you use these, but let's say you change the font, and I'll just go ahead and pick this one here because it stands out as something different. We change the font size, comes by default size 11. And by the way, if you're wondering what an 8 looks like, you don't have to click on it to commit it, just hover over it. Get the preview. There's a preview of an 8, 9, 10, all the way down to 72. So we can see how big things are before we commit to it. That's pretty helpful. We'll go ahead and stick with the 14 for right now. So now I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different changes, formatting changes to cell B2 where onions is. So if I come over here and I try to do that again, it says Calibri again instead of whatever that other font was. And it was still by default font size 11. And I have to remember, was that a 14, a 15, 16? I looked at a number of those. I can't remember what it was. If I want to remember it, I could always go back and click on it and say, oh, okay, it was a 14 in Algerian, then come over here and then trying to remember all of those changes. Well, you don't have to do that in Excel because Microsoft has something called, and you hover over it right here, it's called Format Painter. And so all I have to do is just make sure that my cursor is in B2 here. So there's a green box around it. So this live. In fact, I'm going to just make this a little bit bigger here so it fits a little bit better. We'll talk about those things in a second. And so there's the word onions. And all I have to do is click on Format Painter. If I hover over it, it'll explain exactly what we're about to do. But you click on it. And now I've got this little paintbrush. And wherever I go, let's try peanut butter. Bam. All of a sudden, peanut butter has exactly the same 6 formatting features that onions does. You can see it's bold, italicized, underline, it's red. There's 4, 5, 6 different changes to it. And so that makes it really easy to be able to use Format Painter. But let's talk about, I'm going to go ahead and undo a couple of those changes. And this is our undo button. It's also Control Z if you want to use a keyboard. I'm just going to take it back to where we were when we started. Okay. With nothing going on there. And by the way, when you are copying something, whether it's using the clipboard or the Format Painter, you'll see the dancing green ants is what I call it. Just double click somewhere else and it will stop that and you can go back to normal. So that's great. If we want to just copy what's going on in one spot or whatever, But remember that you can do formatting to groups. So I'm going to left click on onions in B2 and I'm just going to drag. I haven't let go of my left click yet. And now I've selected all of them. So I can do the same thing. I can go bold, italicize, underline, and make it red, maybe change it to 14. And how about go back to, what was that? It was Algerian. There it is. Okay, so that's another way you can do it. So you can select a single cell, you can select multiple cells. Let's go ahead and undo all that, back to where it was. And there's other ways to do it as well. You can select an entire column to infinity or an entire row to infinity. So let's go ahead and do column B. I just click on the name of the column, in this case B. And now what's neat about this is if I decide I'm going to say, oh, let's make it bold, and I'll just pick a few things here. We'll go ahead and make it red because that'll stand out. We could do the other ones, but that's okay. I'm going to click away now. Look what happens when I come down here and I say, okay, we got onions, lettuce, tomatoes, potatoes. What else are we looking for? Squash. How about an apple? Uh-huh. And look at that. Hit enter. It automatically picks up the exact same formatting that's there. And indeed, if I go all the way down to row 5,000,007, if I were to go that far, whatever I would type in there, because I chose to format the entire column B with these features, it doesn't matter where I click. In fact, if I click over here in D2, you'll see that all those little boxes are gone right there. As soon as I click back here, all of them are there. Those are the formatting tools that are employed along with the red. And if I click in this empty space here in B10, you can see also that it's there. And so that's another way that we can do this. I'm going to go ahead and undo all those just to get back to where we started. All right. And of course, the same thing is true. You can do that with a row as well. And that row goes off into infinity. And in case you didn't know this, Microsoft Excel is on order of about 100 times more powerful than the Google counterpart, Google Sheets. And how many columns are there to the right? I looked it up one time. It's like 16,578. All right. And how many rows are there in a single sheet? It's over 1,000,000, and you can add more. So it's really, really quite large. So when I select all of 12 and I say it goes on to infinity, that's pretty much it. It goes all the way to the end, the far right end of this worksheet. And whatever formatting features I employ in any one of these, it's going to do all of them because they're all selected. That's pretty cool. All right, so let's take a look at column F here. We've got these little hashtag things there. These are actually numbers and they don't fit. And so when we want to do some formatting as far as of cells, we might want to spread out that F a little bit. I'm just going to left click and drag it between the F and G and let it go. Okay, so it's big enough now. We can see the 1455 and the 366. That's kind of cool. And then I can do a little bit more. Oh, okay, I can see all the numbers there. Or do I? Here's another trick. I'm going to undo both of those formattings to go back to where we were. So yes, I can go between C and D. And when I get the left, right, black arrow there, I can then move things back and forth or whatever. That's great. And yeah, I could do that. But what if I don't have data just in these 4 cells here, but it goes down for thousands of rows, like a list of students at a school, for example. And we want to expand something so that we can see everything, all the data to the widest data point in column F. You can simply go up there between F and G, get the exact same symbol, but instead of a single left click, got to hold it really steady or it doesn't count. You got to do a double left click. Boom. Aha. Remember we saw that number that looked like we saw the entire number? We actually didn't, because I was just doing it just a little bit at a time. And so it kind of looked like we had the whole number, but we actually didn't. So if you want to expand, in this case, a column to the widest point necessary to accommodate the largest data set, in this case, it would be F8 where this 365 number is, just go up and double click and it will automatically expand it to whatever the widest data set is. All right, so that's just some very quick formatting skills that we can do. But I want to show you one more thing real quick. I'm going to go down here to my enrollment by date worksheet in my Zoom Intro to Excel workbook. I'm going to click on that. And we're looking at a pretend school with some pretend data. And we can see that we've got our student numbers over here, but we can't quite see all of that. That's sort of squashed. We can see all these names, but we can't even actually see the entire header of last name birth dates. We can't see them, so we're gonna have to expand that. Can I go up here and just left click and drag it over until I see it all? Sure. Could I also come over here and just do this, double click? You bet. I'm going to undo that real quick, because if you have a large worksheet with a school on it, or if you work the central office and you've got a bunch of employees and all this data in this giant worksheet, the last thing you want to do is have to do it one at a time. So there's a quick way to do this. Rather than a left click on A1 and try and drag it down to the bottom of the school, and I'll tell you, this pretend school you're looking at has just shy of 500 students in it. That'd be a lot of dragging. All I have to do to select everything is simply go over here between A and 1, up here, and left click. Now it's all selected. Because it's all selected, wherever I go, whichever one I go to, it doesn't matter which one it is, I'll just go over here, and I double click such that if this was just G that was selected, it would take column G and then expand the width of the column to accommodate the largest data set. But because everything's been selected, it's going to do it to the entire worksheet at the same time. Watch this. Double click. There it is. And then I just click away from it to deselect everything. So we've got the header up here in its entirety. All of these headers are there. And if I were to scroll over here in our pretend school, this is last school name, Linda Vista Elementary State Preschool, say that 5 times real fast. That's the largest data set, I believe, in column J down to like 500 rows. And so you can see that it expanded it all the way to there with a little buffer space so that you could fit all that in. That's pretty handy. So remember, when you're formatting, you can select more than just one thing at a time. Let's go back. One more thing. So here you can see I've got this header at the top. I've got clearly, I'll just click on it. You can see that it's bold. It's already bold there. We can see that. And of course, the font is black. And if I went up here and click this more button, we'd see there's a little red box around the black showing us that it is in fact black. All right, that's great. And then right here in the background, the highlighting, if you will, or the cell is filled with a certain color. There it is right there. All right. So if I want to come here and say, you know, I was thinking of changing this color back here. I want it to format different. I want it to stand out. All right. Mr. J said that if you want to, you can use the preview. So looking over there at F1 where it says gender in column F, if I want to preview what the filling color is, all I got to do is hover over it. And you can see over there in F1 that the colors are indeed changing. And that's pretty cool. We can finally find one. Well, that blue, a little darker. I don't know. How about this one over here? Well, maybe this one. Maybe we just need some of these bright colors down here. I'm not sure which one. Well, remember, you don't have to just stay in one. How about select the entire row all the way to infinity? So now when we go up here to fill, and if we want to see a preview, we get to see the whole thing. It's a lot easier to tell what looks best, as opposed to just picking like F1 where it said gender, for example. And so now we just go down the different options till we find something that looks good. Maybe that right there. That's not too harsh. I kind of like that. Blue accent 5, lighter 80%. We'll take that one. All right, and we're done. And if for some reason you don't like that, you can go back and find another one. So those are just a couple of quick formatting basics, including Format Painter, and it makes it a lot easier to do it that way. So fantastic. I hope that's helpful to you, and please share these videos with your colleagues, and we hope to see you next time. Thank you so much.